Hello, this is Tara, and I am speaking from You Should Write a Book, the podcast, and A Stroke of Genius, a memoir. I wanted to do a video this morning. It's about kind of a new topic thing for what I usually do. But anybody who knows that I was a preacher, I braid. So I have usually three things, and then three topics, three kind of threads, and then I promise they'll actually come together in a meaningful way at the end. I had an opportunity to have a gathering on Saturday afternoon. It was beautiful. There was a lot of talking. I saw friends I haven't seen for a long time, and a way to also I tell my story about the stroke and how it happened, and my experience of the rehabilitation. It reminded me of a couple things. First, I want to talk about the fact that my aphasia, my stroke, I am very privileged, that I'm very lucky as far as the stroke. I didn't have any physical symptoms, and that I have aphasia and apraxia, and other than that, I'm pretty good. A lot of aphasia or apraxia sufferers, some can't have any speech at all, or they can't use any words, just sounds. I'm acknowledging that that I have this privilege to be able to do. So, but I do want to think about the fact that when it was very bad after the rehabilitation, there was my brain was okay. It was fine. And it was hard for the therapists and the nurses to understand that I'm still me in it. I understand that it's very difficult to acknowledge the person that you have always been. I was able to articulate who I am, and when I talk about who I am, I'm talking about the who I am person. I'm still that person. Imagine that you're in, like I was thinking about a genie in the bottle, and how that must feel like the experience of someone who can't get the message out at all. A little bit. They can't speak at all. So they might have had a file that said, oh, I was this client or patient was an executive at oil and gas, and he was a avid hiker, and he this is what his life looks like. But imagine you can't actually tell the person who they are, like the essence of them, the things that they love, and the thing that makes you happy, and the things they worry about, and the things that make them sad, what kind of movies they like to watch, how they like to be with their partner. They can't articulate that. So the nurses and the therapists, they can only do from the few points on the chart. Imagine that you're trying to get to know somebody with a few points. It's like a dating file, and how that's not the essence of you are as who you are. Those are just to high a little bit. What does their voice sound like? Do they have an accent? Were they boarded somewhere else? What does it sound like for an aphasia patient who doesn't know what they sound like? And most people have something, maybe a recording on an answering machine. I was very lucky because I have a whole bunch of podcasts to help people know who I sound from before the stroke. I'm just going to take a minute and then do the transition into the next thread. Part of my journey has been volunteering for the Calgary Aphasia Center. I'm a person who likes to be helpful. And as I said earlier, that I'm very acknowledging my privilege, that I have the ability to speak is better than a lot of other people who have aphasia. One of the modules in the training has been talking about acknowledging competence. So in the example that I was talking about, the person who went on the oil and gas and was an avid hiker and all of those things, they're still there. They have abilities. They have deep thoughts. And acknowledging that that person is still there is really important to the journey. Just imagine for yourself that you have a big piece of duct tape all over your mouth, and you can't get your messages out either with any sounds or with just grunting or just mumbled speech, and you can't get any of those thoughts out. One of the techniques is, first of all, acknowledge that they're competent, that the person is still there. And then it's hard for the therapists and the nurses, and even for their loved ones to remember that they're not a child, they're not incompetent, that they want to just still be acknowledged. There's lots of resources at the Calgary Aphasia Center if you wanted more information, and maybe I'll link it up a little bit differ. It's very important for me to acknowledge my temptation to not wallow. I'm doing this at 11:30 on a Sunday morning after I had a very big day last day, and I was very tired and I had no words. I couldn't do messages, and I couldn't speak anymore in the evening. And I woke up in the morning and thought, I could just have a day off. And by saying, I want to tell you that when I wake up in the morning, I'm still me. I'm still the same person. And it's not until I start talking that I remember that it's difficult for me to get the message out in a way that I want it to get the message out. Again, I want to acknowledge my privilege as someone who is a public speaker. I have some tools that most people don't have access to, as far as articulating things. What I'm talking about today in this video is going to include a lot of about 2 hours of planning to be able to get the words out, to be able to do the video. And I also know that when I'm finished recording this, I probably won't want to speak for a while. If you are an aphasia patient, I understand the temptation to just be alone, to not have anybody trying to get a communication out. I understand, because you're still there. You are maybe struggling to communicate. People are asking you questions, trying to get information from them, and you can't get it out. And so I can understand that it would be very tempting. Oh, that's apraxia, sorry. Can't. And I can't get the words out, so I would just be alone. I understand the temptation to just be alone. That's not healthy. I'm trying to remember I'm going to get back to the three threads. At first, I was talking about remembering about the who, the essence of who I am, and aphasia patients, they're still very, they're there, they're in there. It might be more difficult to find it out, but they're still in there. The work from the Calgary Aphasia Center is talking about acknowledging that competence and defining ways to access it. It might be maybe the aphasia patient, they can't use any words, but they might be able to draw a small picture, or maybe just they could maybe they can write out a word, or they can point at pictures. So someone who maybe was a avid hiker, maybe they can just find a way to show the pictures of the mountains, and to so that they can also have that joy of that those memories. And then I also want to talk about, then the third thing I was talking about was the temptation of just staying in the alone place. And the alone place is where in the brain it's still there and there, even though I'm not able to get the message out. I may have mentioned that in my previous life, I was a preacher. So I want to end this by bringing those three threads back in to a message that I hopefully will be inspirational. Just give me a minute. As I'm wrapping up this video, this is a message for both of aphasia patients. I see you. I know you're still in there. For the people who are around the patient, they know you're there too. It's very important that you remember that. I know as a patient, you might feel alone. We know that you had a whole life before the aphasia, before the stroke happened, and all of those people that were in your life before, they're still there, and they're wanting good things for you. I don't want to be thought of as just a stroke victim. I'm still the person that I always was. And one of the ways that I remember this is to use, I'm just going to say that it's a poem. It's actually from the Psalms. And if you're not a religious person, it's fine. This is not why I'm trying to use this, but I want this to be inspirational. Just think of this as a poem. And I'm going to try really hard to read this. We'll see how that goes. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down, and you are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If you go to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settled on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because you are fearfully and were wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Search me, God, and know my heart. You are known, and you are beautiful, and you're still in there, and I see you. Bye.